Today we're doing Chinese barbecue ribs. We're doing it rack style. So I've got 2 big racks of pork ribs. We're gonna smother it with my own Chinese barbecue sauce. So let's get started. For Cantonese Style BBQ Ribs, just check the label to see if it's soybean sauce or soybean paste. So any sauce will work, such as chu-ho paste, such as black bean sauce, such as oyster sauce. So this black bean with garlic sauce is also a soybean based sauce. The only addition is the black beans, so it's exactly the same base as the other sauces. Just make sure you have roughly a 3 tablespoon per pound ratio when you make your spare ribs. So whatever you have, just make it around 3 tablespoons per pound. So when you see Chinese barbecue sauce, it's actually same ingredients. It's the basic soybean sauce, and they add tomato sauce. So here we're just going to add some ketchup to the barbecue sauce. So usually Chinese ribs, they have a red color. So you can use food color. I like to use a natural color using beet powder. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of natural beet powder to make the spare ribs slightly red in color. So just put a tablespoon of this natural beet powder so you get some red color in your spare ribs. You can use food coloring, but beet powder is more natural, so I stick to beet powder if I want spare ribs or Chinese barbecue pork. If I want to make it red, I add a little beet powder. Usually add a little light soy sauce into the barbecue sauce. So put maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons. So I like to add my favorite sauce, Chinese oyster sauce. If you have some, put a few tablespoons in. So rule of thumb for cooking time, it's 15 minutes per pound. So I have 6 pounds here. So that works out to, hour and a half. So I like to put the sauce on both sides of the ribs. So you can use a brush or a spoon, or use your hands. So if you want to cook your ribs slightly less well done, use the thermometer. 165 degrees will do it. If you want it more well cooked, just use the thermometer to get it up to the temperature that you like. But usually for me, 165 degrees is enough. You can go up to 180 and it'll be well done for sure. I keep the ratio of 3 tablespoons of sauce for the ribs per pound. So I use that as an approximate measure. You can add some maltose to your ribs so you get a nice shiny coating on your ribs. But maltose is kind of hard to work with. It's really sticky, so I usually don't use it unless I want a shiny ribs. But I can use honey on the last 15 minutes just to sweeten the ribs. It also gives a nice shine as well. Now I'm going to put the sauce on the bottom of the ribs, so the bone section. So I'm going to cook the ribs bone side up first, and then I'm going to flip it over halfway through because there's sugar inside the barbecue sauce. The sauce could burn, so I like to flip it so I can even cooking. Otherwise, you're gonna have burnt on one side. So normally you don't need to put it at 400 degrees, but because I have 2 racks of ribs going in, I'm gonna keep it at 400. But if you're using just 1 rack of rib, cook it at a lower temperature. And if you want more tender ribs, cook it at a lower temperature, say 320, 325. And that way, take your time to cook it and you get more tender ribs. The ribs are marinated, so we're gonna put the ribs in the oven at 400 degrees, bone side up. So I think hour and a half, I'm gonna try it for 90 minutes. I'm gonna cook the ribs for 90 minutes, so halfway through we're gonna flip the ribs over to get more even cooking. So we're at the halfway mark, so we're going to flip the ribs over. So flip the ribs over at the halfway mark. Once the ribs are finished cooking, let them cool off for 10 to 15 minutes before cutting, so all the juices will be retained back into the meat. I like to cut the ribs with the meat side standing up. So as you cut into the rib, bring the whole rack of ribs up and then just slice through it. So sometimes at the end, it could be attached to other bone or a part of the plate. So use a cleaver or a heavy knife just to separate the ribs. For more tender ribs, cook the ribs at a lower heat for longer time. Sometimes on the underside there is a slab of meat. It's called a skirt. So some people like to cut off that piece of meat so the ribs can cook more evenly. But for me, I just leave it because when you serve it, somebody's going to get a lucky extra piece of meat on the bottom. You can also cook the rack of ribs in smaller pieces, say 3 or 4 ribs in one piece. So this would make it easier to cook if you don't have a large tray. You will be surprised how easy it is to make Chinese barbecue spare ribs. So there you have it. Give this a try. If you get a chance, check out some of my other recipes. Thanks for checking out my video. Please like and subscribe. And see you again.
Now you can order the products and ingredients that I use in my cooking videos. Just click the link below in the description for the Chinese cooking accessory guide. You can order everything online, including the wok that I use and some of the equipment that I use.
Thanks for checking out my video. And please give me a thumbs up. And be sure to check out some of my other videos on this channel. And please subscribe.
If you get a chance, check out my other channel, the award-winning Chinese cooking channel.